Hello and welcome to Jim's EV Adventures. I am Jim, and we're going from point A to point B. So climb in. Let's go. Well, Grace and I have had our first adventure in her new EV. This past weekend, the Saturday before Labor Day, we took a day trip down to Bok Tower Gardens. Bok Tower Gardens was created back in the early 1900s by Edward William Bok, B-O-K. He was educated in the Brooklyn public schools and became an office boy with Western Union Telegraph in 1876. As he grew and became more famous, he became the editor of the Ladies' Home Journal. The Ladies' Home Journal became one of the most successful and influential publications in America and the first magazine in the world to have 1 million subscribers. After 30 years as the editor of American Home Journal, he retired in 1919. He became one of the most noted philanthropists in America and established several awards. But he is most famous here in Florida for establishing what we know as the Bok Tower Gardens. On February 1st, 1929, President Calvin Coolidge dedicated the gardens in Lake Wales, Florida, and Bok made that a gift to the American people as gratitude for the opportunity they had given him. Less than a year later, Edward Bok would die in Lake Wales within sight of his beloved singing tower, and on January 9th, 1930, he was buried at the base of the tower. The tower you just saw in the previous video not only is a clock tower, but it is also a carillon. A carillon is an instrument of tuned bells, and the bells are cast bronze, fixed, and hung dead, and the only thing that moves is the clapper. The clapper is played with a keyboard. There are only 185 carillons in all of North America, and we're lucky enough to have one here in Florida. The tower sits in the middle of Olmsted Gardens. Bok Tower Gardens, again, was one of the greatest works of famed landscape artist Frederick Law Olmsted, Jr., who was the son of Frederick Law Olmsted, Sr., the designer of Central Park in New York City. It is several acres of ferns, palms, oaks, and pines that fashion a lush backdrop of flowering foliage and spectacular season colors of azaleas, camellias, and magnolias. In addition to all of the foliage that's there are 126 different species of birds, as well as the gopher tortoise and the eastern indigo snake that are on the grounds here. The Bok Tower Gardens is a designated site on the Great Florida Birding Trail. In Hammock Hollow, you'll find a very special children's garden, which incorporates a lot of cooling water features, vibrant plantings, a boardwalk, a play area with climbing features, a stage for little performers, and plenty of space for them to build, dig, create, and explore in a safe area. There are several miles of walking paths and one preserved trail that is 1.5 miles long, stretching from the visitor center to the entrance of the park. Some of this trail is a longleaf pine forest, and some is a former citrus grove being restored to longleaf pine at this time. The kitchen garden is a place where you can stop and have a culinary delight. Cooking demonstrations take place there several times per day. The Blue Palmetto Cafe is open from 9 to 5 each day. It's located next to the visitor center, and it features delicious salads, soups, sandwiches, wraps, fruit, and specialty desserts, as well as beers and wines in an indoor and outdoor setting. In the 1970s, Bok Tower Gardens expanded to include the estate, or the former estate, of Charles Austin Buck, a Bethlehem Steel executive. El Retiro is about a 12,900 foot square Mediterranean style home with many characteristics of an antique villa, complete with barrel tile roof, thick walls, substantial carved doors and woodwork, and intricately detailed wrought iron. In an effort led by Nellie Lee Holt Bok, daughter-in-law of the founder Edward Bok, the home was acquired in 1970. And famed restoration landscape architecture Rudy Favretti was engaged along with a corps of volunteers to restore the home and preserve the historic destination. In 1985, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places. While scouring PlugShare, I noticed that there were Level 2 chargers at Bok Tower Gardens, and in fact that's how I discovered that Bok Tower Gardens even existed. The good thing is we did not need to charge there, but it appears there are 2 operational Level 2 chargers at the park. So if you get there early enough, I'm sure you'll be able to take one of those chargers if you need it. On our way back home, we did have to stop and charge. So we made it back into downtown Orlando and stopped at the Orlando Utility Commission chargers located on Robinson Street. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that that's one of my favorite charging spots in Orlando. In order to use battery preconditioning, you must load the location of the charger in the navigation system for the Ioniq. However, the Orlando Utility Commission chargers are not in the database for Hyundai, so there's a failure on Hyundai's part. Therefore, battery preconditioning could not be used, and the maximum speed we saw there was about 226 kilowatts. We were able to charge from 21 to 80% in about 21 minutes. We took in 50.5 kilowatt hours of electricity for a total cost of $19.05, including tax. Since our trip to Bok Tower Gardens over the course of this past week as I put together this video, we've had about a foot of rain in our local area here. So needless to say, I've not been able to capture the B-roll that I would like to capture, but I am going to share with you some footage that we took over the course of the past couple of days. And that will wrap up this video for this week. I would like to thank you very much for stopping by today. Please do remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like, and ring the notification bell so you'll know when we've uploaded something new. Remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same for you. Again, thank you very much for stopping by today. We look forward to seeing you again in the very near future or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Take it easy, everybody. See you all real soon.